Good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Shoshana and I want to talk a little bit about the structure of man. I'm a guide to life and I help navigate through the spiritual awakening. And in part of that, you have to understand what your makeup is so that you can better understand this human experience. So we are a soul. We are a soul, and the soul is connected. You could see the soul as light, and the light is connected to the divine light, to the source of all light. And as a soul, we have received this physical aspect of self in order to have this life experience in this physical realm. And we received this avatar, and this avatar, within this avatar there is, you could call it the spirit of man, which is the ego, which the ego is the container of your emotions, of your thoughts, of your understandings, is the container of your memory, is the container of your judgment, right? Your judgment is dependent on your belief system. So it's the container of all that. It is within it. So you have a soul, and your soul has within it the spirit, or you could call it the ego self, which is the false sense of I, which is the smaller self, you could call it, the more um, the technical self, the self that sees over, watches over. It's like having a manager of your life, the one that does the actual work, right? So you are the command center, and your ego is um, the one that physically makes it happen. The thing is that the ego thinks that it has to think that it is you. And so you have this ego, and within the ego sits all of the tools that you need in order to have this human experience. So within the ego is the sense of separation, is your memory, is your belief system, but your ego is programmable, and it is self-programmable. So it has been programming itself. And you could see it like within your mind. Sometimes you have the person that is doing the experiencer, and you also have another voice that is the overseer, the one that is asking the questions, the one that is um, your higher self. You can recognize it from within yourself. You have like more than one voice within. And I need to reconnect. Give me a sec. So when you purify yourself and you rise to your higher self and sit within the command center, then your ego becomes your servant and becomes the most magnificent tool. And when you master the ego and the avatar, then you have mastered the physical plane, because this avatar, your physical, your human self, is a makeup of everything that there is in the physical world. Everything that is your body is made up, is all recycled. It's all made up of the earth, of the ground. You are the vibration of your mind is the same vibration of the earth. So when you take off your shoes and you stand on the ground, you ground yourself. You are resettling your mind's vibration. You are realigning your avatar to the earth. Now we walk around with rubber shoes on that is just like with electric cords. If you have rubber over it, then you touch it, you don't get shocked, right? So if you're putting plastic on the bottom of your feet and never reconnecting to the earth, it's like you are completely disconnecting yourself from that grounding, from what is going to make your inner self quiet. And in order to hear your higher self, you have to be able to start quieting the noise of your lower self, of your ego self. Maybe not lower self, higher self, but you have to put it into words so that to make sense of it, so that you can understand it, and then dismiss the words. Don't get stuck on the words, get stuck on the understanding of it. And so when you quiet your avatar, your ego, from all the noise and all the distractions that are constantly, especially in the modern day, you have TV going and you have all of the Wi-Fi signals in the air and the Bluetooth and telephones and airplanes and the noise of cars and the city, and everything is always, and the thoughts that are constantly bombarding you. You have to make a living and you have all these pressures. We're born running, not knowing who we are, taught out of who we are, thinking that we are the ego. And so we have to not only reteach ourselves, but we first have to deteach ourselves. And so when you understand the structure, we are first and foremost, we are a soul that has come to have an experience, and we have a divine purpose, and the divine light that is flowing through us has a texture and taste that is one of a kind, has an absolute one of a kind purpose in the world. That's why we're always looking for higher purpose. What is my destiny? What have I been meant to do? You always have this feeling inside that I was meant for more than this. I'm not meant to just run around and have experiences of the meat. Whenever you have a true enjoyment, it is things that money cannot buy. That watching your child take his first steps, the things that truly satisfy you are things of the soul, are things of your higher self, are the enjoyments, are the taste of life. So we have to untrain ourselves from thinking that we are just the ego and that just our accomplishments and what we do, so we are our worth. We are worthy just in the fact that we are in existence. So when you can understand this kind of structure, you can understand that when you quiet the ego, when you take back the reins and you go, shh, because your ego is the false sense of I. And if the ego thinks that it's responsible for everything, it doesn't know that it is connected to the divine. It feels like a lost child. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to have to prove myself. And how do they have to? How does the ego have to prove itself? It has to prove itself according to what society said is the right way to be. Because the ego, as being disconnected, is that false sense of I that is disconnected from the all, doesn't really have the knowing of where to go. It just has that external judgment. It just has that, it doesn't, the internal knowing is the soul. So when you can marry back the soul and the ego and combine them into one, the mind and the heart, there's so many different parts of this that all combine at once. But if you can combine your higher self with your ego to where they work together as one, then you find that inner power, you find that inner pillar. And in order to do that, you are going to have to quiet the avatar. You're going to have to quiet the noise in your mind, the nervous system, that feeling, that jumpy feeling inside. And to do that, there's many different ways of doing it. But to do that, a lot of it is in just grounding yourself and breathing, coming into the now. If you have emotions coming up, just observe the emotions. Don't get lost in them, because they're going to take you into your mind and into all of those tangles of the mind, and those are on the outskirts. Those aren't connected to the divine place, because in the divine place there aren't those thoughts. Those thoughts are part of the outer outskirts. And so when you're completely connected, you are just pure consciousness. And so there are no tangles there. And your soul is connected to that place at all times. So when you can quiet your mind, especially if you have emotions coming up, try to watch the emotions. Thoughts will come because your mind, that's its purpose. That's what it's going to do. But just watch your emotions. Try to bring your thoughts to watching the emotions and allowing those emotions to flow through you, because it's going to expand your capabilities. Like, ground yourself by putting your bare feet on the ground as much as you can. If you can get into a body of water, then that is immersing your entire self into the vibration of the earth. If you can meditate every morning, as close as you can to when you wake up, and if you can meditate at night when you go to sleep, when you are in that state between awaken and asleep, that place that's kind of like lucid dreaming, then you are conscious in unconsciousness. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a space in between. It's just like when we go into meditation, you go into that space that's in between the thoughts. And in order for the thoughts to have purpose and meaning, you have to create space. That's just like words that we speak. When we speak words, there has to be quiet places in between the syllables. Otherwise, the words have no meaning. So it's just like a painting that has to have the blank spaces. It has to have the contrast. So it's the same kind of aspect. I hope that this was clear enough that it's kind of an abstract thought, and I think that some things are left with less words. And so I'm sending you guys so much love. And if you would like to schedule a one-on-one with me to kind of look at yourself, at what you're going through at yourself, and get some perspective, some guidance, then my website is in the information below. Thank you so much for watching.